And as we discussed yesterday, we do have a little bit of expected move test from yesterday's FOMC minutes and the press conference following. Obviously, a pretty strong recovery day for the market. S&P's up approximately 2.5%. And I'll pull up Trading Terminal just to kind of show the type of relative strength we had once the market started to rally. Looks like the market was up actually almost 3% on yesterday, with the NASDAQ leading and the Russell and the Dow following close behind. Obviously, when you get these market catalysts, you can have a lot of things occurring at one time. For one, volatility can drop off very quickly. So when you're kind of live trading, always be looking for volatility drops, and that can be a very bullish signal for something that is already uptrending or pushing quite strongly. Secondly, you have market correlation, more of an after effect of market volatility coming off. And then, of course, all of your sectors performing as well. Keep in mind, energy was still the leader yesterday. Energy was strong before our catalyst and just got a little bit of that additional rocket fuel into the close. But technology and consumer communication services actually bolstered things like the NASDAQ, with lots of our mega market cap names being quite strong yesterday. So all in all, very significant rally for the market, coming off of a expected and known 50 basis point rate hike. A little bit of discussion about their balance sheet reduction. We do have sort of that June timeframe to start seeing that reduction. And then, of course, a lot of Q&A with Federal Chair Jerome Powell in regards to upcoming rate hikes and the expectation, basically them putting to bed any expectation of a 75-point basis hike. We'll see if that changes moving forward. But 50 basis point hikes can be something of expected behavior from them moving forward. So lots of good conversation with the Fed, and the market certainly enjoyed that information. But I want to talk about some of the rationale behind it, because we're mostly just hitting the expected move for the week. If I didn't mention it before, market ran right into the expected move for the week, that 4,300 print. It's also a bit of a technical area. So if you look at where have the swing highs been that have led to downtrending lows, we are looking at probably our third touch of this area, setting it up on this swing, bit of a double top leading into a sell-off, and then, of course, our full V reversal into this area. So S&P's short term likely to fade off of expected move, but a breach of expected move can occur. We have not seen an upside expected move breach for approximately 5 to 6 weeks. And when I say breach, I mean something that actually has relative closure above the expected move. So I guess like an actual break. Breaches tend to simply be intraday sessions that go above or below and typically come back in. Whether they come back in strongly or not, it just depends on the session. So, for example, this would be a break of expected move, and it did occur on Friday. Yesterday, we're pretty much in line with expected move, so I'm considering that just a mild breach for now. Now, overall market strength and the fact that we're at this technical level means that you might want to consider some positional reconstruction moving forward, depending on how this shapes up. For one, we're not necessarily back into an all-out uptrend. Obviously coming off of a fear low in the market, it's going to take a lot of time in order to rebuild things like daily uptrends or anything that is more constructive to a market that has expectation of movement on sell swings and expansions. This overall simply looks like a massive rally back into a clear area of resistance. So a more patient bull is probably waiting for the pullback. And for the rest of the week, you might be trading within this overall range that was set yesterday. The high from yesterday, the low from yesterday, that's about 15 points. And obviously using some historical information to define levels. If, however, the market continues to rally this week, one, it is a break of expected move. And two, when you get breakouts of this magnitude, especially because the volatility range is so high, they can continue for a while, but they often are faded. It's mostly because the volatility has expanded so much that in order for the market to continue in that favor, it would require a lot of reestablishment of trend. So, probability states that the expected move should be where the market closes about 68% of the time. We are hitting the top end. We're pulling back slightly. More probable to stay within, yesterday's range, especially for today and maybe into Friday. But of course, if something does affect that, maybe a new catalyst or just that setup and recontinuation, be looking for a possible break, especially into Friday when all of the risk really magnifies into the close. So highlighting some of the volatility reduction that we're seeing, for VIX futures, this is where you simply say, are we still in backwardation? And the answer is no. We are currently not in regards to the active and the June contracts. We have lost that backwardation structure. We were already trading relatively flat yesterday. Market was already sort of anticipating this inversion. And then, of course, we saw the volatility really come off after the news was announced. And this can be seen on the VIX as well, with our clear resistance level somewhere around 35 to 36, an inflection point of 30. And all this means is this is where I expect the trend change to occur. This was still in an uptrend, even though we hit resistance. And as you can see, the market has completely sold the VIX back down from this point. So really all we're seeing right now is that, reactionary rally, volatility reduction, market really responding well to it. And moving forward, what you want to start looking for is some clarity in either oversold or some of the more beaten down sectors, especially the ones that hold market cap relevant to the S&P. So, for example, technology, yes, it's not the clearest downtrend breakout in the world, but there is a lot of definition here in regards to where the sell swings occur, the higher low setup after a bounce, and then of course the move above downtrending resistance. So if the market was going to do something similar to what we've been seeing, you often want to see rejection at these levels. And because we haven't seen it, this is indicating that the move is changing. It's starting to become more opportunistic, probably for a bullish bias. And then from there, we'll be looking to see if that move has exhaustion or tops out like it did before. And remember, all we're doing is something very similar to what we did in this time frame, where yes, you can have failed look aboves, you can have sort of rough definition, but once you get above this trend line, it didn't really make sense to be a bear in the market anymore for at least a couple of weeks. And what we'll be looking to see is, do we get similar behavior, or is it more of a wave type pattern back to the upside, or is it literally just another trap? Markets can easily turn very quickly. Kind of walk that through different ETFs and different aspects of of sectors. Communication, probably the deepest sold, starting to look a bit more constructive in the moment. Financials coming off of channel support. So, for those kind of paying attention to where these inflections are occurring, this channel support reflects very good risk to reward. And even if you're wrong, the market can offer some neutral to even some, like conservatively bullish opportunity, just moving back above into mid-range. So market cycle, overbought, oversold, it's always a bit relative as to what that means, but technicals usually provide good guidance for risk to reward. And last but not least, kind of looking at sectors that were strong standouts. So here we're starting to look more defensive and saying, okay, these sectors also got a boost yesterday too. It's not as if they were selling defensive and buying risk on or more appropriately weighted market sectors. They really just bought a little bit of everything, once again, because of volatility. So looking at something like consumer staples might be something of a continuation buy setup. We're back at the 50 period. We obviously had a nice move higher. We've pulled back approximately 50% from that high. So, in regards to the expansion of the move, and if you believe this is still an uptrending market, then this can provide a bit of a good risk to reward for your location. But keep in mind that the deepest corrections in something like XLP don't really occur at this price level. They actually occur at the 200-day or the 50-day weekly, 50 period weekly, apologies. It's the market here is actually more indicative of channel trading than one might think. It tends to have a little bit of this structure to it. So if the market does get bought here and makes a new swing high, it's indicative of a more aggressive trend. Basically, the trend support is changing, and you're not having to pull back as deep in order to facilitate higher highs. So this setup here, while it looks appropriate, is a bit different. The market normally will correct much lower before seeing new swing highs. And these 50-day tests from the highs are often not long-lived setups. So just kind of, it's a pro and a con. The market can easily change, but this is a market that is rewarding defensive positioning. And while the defensive names have pulled back, they are potentially setting up once again, not necessarily to go back to all-time high, but to trade a bit more in a constructive manner, a bit more range trading, possibly some lower high and higher low setups on shorter time frames. I'm kind of looking at utilities here to get a sense of that as well. Once again, the channel is what made sense back in time. We broke out from the channel. So it is likely that something different is forming. The only thing we really don't know is whether this is correct or not. Is this the new trend line? And if so, what does it look like moving forward? So that's where, it kind of pays a little bit of attention, or it pays to figure out what the market did, what's new about it, and if something is structurally changing, how can you position around the change? What will confirm that change? And talk about how to get involved with that trade. And then, of course, last but not least, healthcare. Less clarity on healthcare, bit mid-range at the moment, falling back into a previous trading range, usually indicative that this was not sustainable up here, and it still puts a lot of risk if we are to get higher than something like 137 on XLV. So high to low trading in regards to healthcare for now. Okay, let's see, we're about 15 minutes out. So unfortunately, Still no Wyckoff discussion for today. I know I've been bringing it up a couple times. I think with the type of information, I'd like to transition that into a module for BBT. So for those who are with us in the BBT membership, that'll be another education module upcoming. If not, we'll talk about it briefly on engineering the market, but I'll be leveraging that module much more heavily for future discussions. So we will look at sort of the Wyckoff view of the SPY next week. I'll have that module kind of as a backup. And for those in BBT, you get all the bits and pieces needed to utilize it. So open to questions at this point. We have some earnings names we can look at. We have some people who are maybe looking at this as another opportunity to go long or just to position around yesterday's reaction. So we'll look at that in just a moment. So for anyone asking about posturing on the Qs and just the move yesterday, I think what you have to do is you have to be a bit patient here because the S&P did hit a pretty strong resistance and it's pulling back. I expect the NASDAQ to do something similar. What you may want to consider, though, is where are the strong buys occurring if you are to believe that this is going to continue. So it's real simple. Where is the absolute low and where is your higher low? For now, the Qs have an absolute low at 309.65, and they have this higher low. You take your trend line, you swing it up, first thing that you touch. That's your higher low. It made a new higher high relative to all highs back after this low is set. So it's an uptrend. And the Qs are topping out in a similar high resistance zone for now. So this week, the expectation this week is that we might kind of trade a little lackluster. We've already kind of moved a full expected move in the SPY at least. And really what you're looking for now is additional confirmation. The only thing to worry about is when you get these big expansions, it moves you away from your trend line very quickly. So in order for the market to trend moving forward, there needs to be something a bit more clean relative to swing highs and lows. This is a little too deep. I think if the Qs pull back that much, you'd probably question the uptrend because it gives back 90% of the move. Unless it occurs much later in time. So you might want to start looking at moving averages. One thing I like to do, go to the hourly, pull up your 20, 50, 200 simple moving averages, and recognize that all three moving averages are sloping up and in the right order. This is the first time that's happened since this time frame back here. 20, 50, 200. You cross, you chop around, maybe there's a little bit of a false look here, and then we're downtrending. It's fairly obvious after the fact because that downtrend was so strong. This is the first time in a little bit that we've seen this change. So respect it for now. Obviously, a little bit more bullish lean on the hourly. We are in an hourly uptrend. We're just trying to figure out what the retracement looks like. Because we're at resistance. It's likely for the market to retrace. And if it keeps going from here, it's going to be probably a bit of an overextended breakout for a short-term trade. So, as simple as just pulling back to the 200 would be ideal on the hourly, which would represent basically a pullback to some of this mid-range chop that we had on the Qs. And then you want to see a breakout. If the market can't break this level and it catches up with 50 on the daily, starts to resist, that's going to be a problem because then we'll be fighting, daily resistance and hourly strength or hourly support. So, what do you think of Twitter? Twitter doesn't appear to be in play unless there's a catalyst this morning. Okay. So catalyst this morning, trading around 50. I probably wouldn't touch it. Twitter has a lot of open interest, still at 50 in the option market. It's a big psychological number. Getting away from it is pretty hard. So a day trade around it's challenging. Yes, there's a little catalyst right now, but we haven't really done anything great except for breaking a very mild swing high. And this entire area is pretty challenging. I mean, we're coming off the 200. So, I'll say maybe a slight bullish lean, but the upside's a bit limited. I wouldn't be playing much higher than 51 to 52. And that might be enough, but it doesn't look great to me. This is kind of what you're dealing with right now. If you want to think about it from just grabbing your trend lines, you're in this stuff right here. So we haven't really cleanly got out of this stuff, and it's noisy. It's very challenging. So probably not high interest. Tesla. Give me a second. Close above the 50. Recovery of the 200. Keep in mind that Tesla's volatility is pretty high, such that we're still looking at 20, 50, 200 in the right order, but the 20 is sloping down. So the 50 and the 200 are still rising. It's indicative of a medium to a long-term trend that's still intact. So reclaim of the 50. I mean, short term, just kind of look at where you're coming from. That line right there is a target, which means a day trade can make sense in this range, but a swing trade probably not without a pullback. And when you hit to the bottom of a balance range, you often don't expect the market to immediately get back into it. I mean, you're kind of going from high drawdown, balance, rejection, drawdown, bit of balance, but sort of that high and low testing, that wider volatility past couple days. Yeah, we're breaking this high. So that's indicative that we're going up, but you're running right into balance after that. So I don't necessarily love that. It just limits your risk to reward. The market's probably going to run into this and then struggle for a little bit. So be careful on your longs. Your longs should not have massive expectation unless we can get above this line cleanly, like just rip through it. And then you probably go for 1,000 at that point. AZN. Uptrending market. This is probably a swing high, all-time high. Yep. So you're looking for the trend to continue. It's an all-time high back test. So it pulled back to 38.2, almost 50. You're probably looking to position, and you're looking either for the lower high or another breakout in the future. I mean, there's nothing really bearish about something that just made a new all-time high until you reject trends. We're even kind of back testing the swing highs a bit. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. So, I mean, I think you have to be bullish on this one. It's just a question of, is this the right location? W, and then I'll look at YouTube really quickly. Okay, so W, massive downtrend. We're starting to bounce. Look at where your swing lows are. It's pretty clear on this one, somewhere around here. I can mark the higher ones, or I could just mark the absolute one, but we broke down here. So a bounce is likely to backtest this area first and then struggle, because what makes you think that this low is any different than the other ones? It's a downtrend. So is there anything on a higher time frame? Yeah, maybe some monthly swing low support, but I mean it's one of those areas that's interesting. You can play it short term, or you can position around it with the understanding that it's a massively oversold stock. I mean, it topped out at 369. It's at 76. So it lost 80% of its value recently. The market would have to change dramatically for this stock to be a bull again. A market that's indicative of bullish trades is what I should say. Keep it simple. Any thoughts on UNH? That one's going to be a little challenging with the healthcare analysis. I don't think this pullback is that bad, but you also want to keep in mind that it's a bit extended. Most trending markets get extended at some point, and what you're looking for is higher time frame issues with the setup. So for example, I'm a bit concerned with this monthly topping tail. I mean, the market literally went all the way up and all the way down in a month. So it's a little concerning. It doesn't look constructive right now. And what I may want to consider is saying, are we close enough to some absolute trend line to consider a long? Probably not. You know, we're still a little off right now. You know, this isn't perfect, but somewhere down here is a little better. If it gets bought up at the 20, it's been doing that, but you're staring at a monthly topping tail. So it could bounce here, and then I'd probably look for the lower high, at which point the trend line probably becomes the downside target. And that's what's a bit concerning, is if healthcare is going lower from some overbought position, especially UNH, that's going to impact things like the Dow. The Dow. You know, the Dow's in that same position of like trying to hold on to some swing lows. Very strong move yesterday, but the Dow's components are much different than the S&P and the NASDAQ. So, all right. I could probably do one more. Where's Bitcoin going in May? BTC price chart right now is pretty straightforward. There's a channel of support and a channel of resistance. Both of those have not been broken to any significant degree. So as long as this is true, this is probably more likely than not. I usually play long off the channel support. There's been 2 attempts. One attempt if you consider the low, the setup. And then the high is kind of the marking of the resistance. So far it's an uptrending market, but it's got a big channel of trade. So, and the uptrend is obviously against sort of like a weekly flag perspective. You know, this is what it looks like on the weekly. All right. Well then, all that. It's Thursday, so happy rest of the week to everybody. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and as always, thank y'all. We'll talk more next week, and looking forward to talking more through the Wyckoff module once it's been provided. So, as always, talk to y'all later.
guys had an incredible day yesterday. All right, with that said, guys, oh, there's my buddy Norm. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
Doing good. Let me check it. Got you a little bit low, but I think it's on my end.
It was probably because it was down by my chest, but maybe I'm
Oh yeah,
better now.
perfect now. Yes.
All right.
Um, all right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Let's get started here. Let's take a look at our stuff from yesterday, starting with AMD. First one on the list. Let's get our 5 minute up and running here so you guys can see some of the action we had yesterday. AMD gapping up nicely and selling off at the market open. Yes, it had a nice, beautiful sell off, beautiful opening range breakdown here. So many things you could have played off AMD, just a lot of weakness in the sell off here. So, again, this trade is so clean. Wish I would have been watching this one closely. And then recovers as many stocks did towards the later parts of the day. You had a bit of a recovery here, obviously, with all the good news happening in the market. We'll talk about that in a second. Here's Starbucks. I was a little bit disappointed in Starbucks. I thought it would trade a little bit better at the open. Again, it had the nice run later in the day. But we've seen better out of Starbucks when they have earnings. So didn't quite get that yesterday. Again, a lot of indecision happening with waiting for the FOMC meetings as we talked about throughout the week. The day before Monday, also you could tell there was a lot of indecision, a lot of things going sideways. Looking forward to see how today is going to be after now the cat is out of the bag. Is that a way to say it? Whatever you want to say, it's done. So let's see if we can get back to some normal trading as far as stocks following some movements here. Here's mRNA, a beautiful drop as well. Did trade very clean. And then, like everything else, just kind of went sideways for a period here, mid morning to about early afternoon. And then we had the nice run up. Some of the run ups and bounces happened a little bit earlier, but you can see mRNA there as well. Actually, another one that traded very well, guys, towards the downside. Look at this pop here. Beautiful rejection. You might have been stopped out here if you took a pre market high breakout right there. But once you saw that it couldn't break this high again, great indication to take this short. Maybe not right there. You want some more confirmation. You wait for it to lose the moving averages. It does just that. Breaks. I mean, there's just so many opportunities on this down move here from Oxy. So you could have traded that so many different ways. Here is Uber. Uber was a little bit tough. It was weak. Brian took an amazing trade on this one. He went short, and I believe it took a couple of partials on the way down here. So that was nice. And then Lyft. I mean, unbelievable drop here. I could not believe how much Lyft dropped after being down like 26%. It just dropped nicely here some more. So just when I thought it was done and maybe time for a bounce, Lyft decides not yet. And you can see that the drop here just so clean. One big pullback here, and then after that, it's just straight downhill. So Lyft trading very, very well, which normally these stocks do not trade this well. But you saw some good action on Lyft yesterday. And then we have some other ones, Tesla, Apple, and so forth, that were definitely in play. If not at the morning, later parts of the day, you can see Apple here. Once the news started to break out, how this thing traded. So looking forward to today's action, Norm. Obviously, we discussed a lot about what's been happening with the overall market. What's the latest and greatest?
Yeah, well, as far as economic data, we just had all the data for the day drop. We had initial and continuing claims. Claims came out at 200,000 versus 182 estimated, so a little bit more than expected. Continuing claims were a little bit lighter than expected. Um, the productivity rate dropped more than it has in a very, very long time. I saw it; it dropped 7.5% versus 5.4 expected. And right when I was reading that or saw that, a minute or so later, while you were talking, I got an alert on my phone from CNBC. Labor productivity fell 7.5% in the first quarter, the fastest rate since 1947.
Wow.
So hadn't had much of an effect on what's going on the market after we
Hmm.
had that big update. I think that was the biggest day in a couple of years on the SPY, biggest gain on the SPY in a couple of years after the the policy announcement and Jay Powell talking.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
pulling back about 2/3% on the SPY, essentially the same on the Qs. So we'll see where it takes us today.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Will definitely be fun to see here. Um, Guys, I forgot to mention, if you haven't done so, for Jared, again, putting out some good information every single morning. Let's give him a thumbs up. He won't be on tomorrow. He takes off Friday, but Monday through Thursday, he's doing an amazing job of, getting us prepared for the day. So appreciate that very, very much. All right, with that said, guys, let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. Not a whole lot in the green, and probably because a lot of stuff ran up yesterday, pretty aggressive. So you might have some stuff that's pulling back here a little bit. So that under 3%, you're gonna see many stocks in here. And this list, I believe, is gonna get a lot longer, especially if the SPY drops a little bit, right? You're gonna have some stocks that are gonna pull back there, and you're gonna see that this thing just pick up. Although that could be the case, I do see a pattern here. Plenty of Chinese stocks on deck. So is there anything going on with the Chinese tickers
I
this
know
morning?
that I believe there was a holiday they had. There's been some issues with slowing in China, and
Hmm.
some talk about them helping support the markets. So it just depends on which day of the week it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
delisting talk has been going on for the last year and a half. So one day it's one thing, the next day it's another. They just bounce around like a ping pong ball.
I agree, 100%. All right, so on the red again, on the top, you do have a couple on here. Shopify, Etsy taking a big hit both ends here. We'll take a look what's going on there. W is Wayfair, I believe. SBH also on here with some double digits towards the downside. We'd love to see what's happening there. So, yeah, let's get into it, guys. Let's go ahead and you know what? I got to link my trade ideas. So pardon me. Let me do this here. Let's get rid of this. We'll add a link there and we'll get going. So we can see what's happening. Perfect. Now we can move this out of the way, bring this down, and let's see how we're doing now. Icpt. Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's start there with Icpt, guys. Low flow at 23.7 million at the moment. So not a great pre-market activity. You guys know we don't like this initial pop, and then it just comes right back down midpoint or so from the actual move, and it starts going sideways, losing ground, right, making new lows. So I'm not a fan of it. Volume is there. We got the potential to get going. ICPT, this sounds familiar. I believe we might have had it on deck before. I can't remember.
We might have a long time ago. It sounds
Yeah.
somewhat familiar. It's a
Right.
biotech, so it wouldn't be surprising to me if they had some kind of drug news that popped them up. It's a lower float, close to the boundary, which we consider low float of 20 million.
Hmm.
They had news they're selling off a business unit, so
Oh, okay.
it's not the
Okay.
whole thing. It's not a buyout.
Right.
It should maybe get some movement, but who knows?
Gotcha. So yeah, definitely not looking great right now. We'll have to come back to this. Let me go ahead and clean our list here. Control A, Control
You
X.
guys.
We'll
Yes,
remove
I'm
that.
exhausted, guys. Shout out to all the single parents out there, because I'm
Dude.
24 hours, man, and I want to crawl in a hole somewhere. My wife took her mom up. I don't know if you guys remember, but my brother-in-law passed away last year. My wife
Yeah.
took her mom to go visit his where they scattered his ashes up in Oklahoma. So I'm on dad duty, solo dad duty, and oh my God, I feel like I've been run over by a truck.
Yeah, dude. My wife went to Dominican Republic to see her grandmother, who was turning 90. Actually, right when we came back from Florida, she went to Dominican Republic. She stayed there, and I had the kids for 3 days.
Oh yeah,
Oh
it's
my God. I
never
don't know.
I know. I mean, you do a lot with your kids, and I'm
Hmm.
essentially. I mean, I do most of the kids stuff, but to not
Yeah,
have any backup, oh,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm
it's brutal.
I'm the official pamper changer. I put them to bed. Yeah,
Yeah, me
you got.
too.
I got a lot of that, and I know you do too as well.
I'm
But
drop off, pick up,
but
transport,
from
clean up, cook
the
for,
minute they
all
wake
that.
up,
But when you don't have any backup and you're
oh,
just on
ooh,
24/7, oh my Lord.
I don't know how single mothers do it. Single parents, period, or dads as well do it. It's just I don't know. Guys, take a vote. We're taking a vote here on Twitter, and you can follow at NormBBT and at Carlos M at BBT as well. We're usually posting some stuff on here. So I put on here, what do you think about yesterday's market reaction, right? Are you feeling bullish or bearish? Right now, bears are winning 70%, only 20 votes. So let's get your votes in there. I put the links in YouTube and in our chat. I want to see by the end of the show where we stand there. Let's get to our list. Icpt, guys, low flow that needs a little more activity. I'm going to add it here to the. Speaking of, by the way, Mother's Day is coming up early, right? It's this Sunday. So I know usually since the Sunday was the first, it's the second week, right? Second Sunday. So it's this Sunday coming up. So don't forget to pick up your gifts for your Mother's Day, guys. SIMO also here. We are up 16%. Horrible intraday action. Doesn't look good at all. I'm not a fan of this by any means. Heading down to Run RUN, and this one is up 8.7. Just no volume. Looks like we might have had it on the list in the past here. I got some old levels from before.
Oh, yeah. This is when solar was going crazy. Sunrun, they had earnings last
that's what this
night.
is. Yeah.
They had the losings last night, excuse me. So
yeah. So that they're bouncing here 8.4. I mean, just the volume. It needs to get better volume. My thoughts on it. All right, over here, Twitter this morning. What are we doing? Twitter's a little active today. Any news?
Yeah, so yeah, just some news of Musk lining up, securing some other investors and people to help him buy it. So the percentage chance of this deal closing at the 54.20 gets more and more likely. It's going to edge up there in the arbitrage trade.
I see that. Yeah, definitely. They got some movement here right now. 2 million shares traded. We just got to see how it's going to be at the market open. Are we going to get chopped, or are we going to actually get some movements here? We'll have to see. All right, so Twitter's on deck. Let's see what's gapping down right now, guys. Shopify this morning, again, very tough to trade. I think they had earnings. Pre-market earnings this morning. So you're seeing the movement here. I'm gonna put them on the secondary list, but they're so difficult to trade, guys. We'll see. Let's see what happens today. Etsy. I think I never have traded Etsy before. I just don't know. Maybe when they're in play, something looks better. But they don't look all that great neither, as far as the daily and the volume that they're getting.
Nobody looks good in steampunk.
That's true. Brian could pull off anything, right? 12% right now. Volume is very light, which again I think that's kind of normal for them. And they had earnings last night, so even with earnings after hours, it's just not exciting at all. So I'm gonna skip on that. Here's W. I believe this is Wayfair, yes. And they also had earnings this morning, and pretty quiet for Wayfair.
Apparently, they don't have just what you need.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'll put them as a secondary. They can pick up. We see them, get going, but their volume, man, just so light here. I don't know how that's going to turn out. SBH, no, that's not in play. Down 10%, no volume, horrible activity. What is this? This is Sally Beauty Holdings. Yeah, there's nothing beautiful about this chart. I'll tell you that much. So we'll skip on down. SBSW is the South Mining Company, I believe.
South African gold
miner.
Yeah. No.
So it's down 7.8 this morning. How's Oxy doing? If I want to watch something like this, Oxy is up actually. Oxy is up 1.6, 290. Interesting daily on Oxy, guys. We are slamming up against the area of resistance that we have not been able to break out of since probably late March. So you know what? I like Oxy. It's not on the list right now, as they are not gapping over 2%, but I do like the setup here today. So that looks good. eBay earnings yesterday down, guys, huge, 7.2. Definitely worth watching. Not sure if it's going to be on our main list. More of a possible for now. I haven't seen eBay trade well in a while, but I like this gap down. We're down quite a bit here at 7.2. All right, we'll stop here. There's a couple of more other names coming up. You got a lot of Chinese tickers as well. You have Neo down 3.4 with 1.7 million shares traded. You have Baba down here a bit as well, 3.1. I think I'm going to watch those two, but you can take your pick from XPEF, JD, just a bunch of Chinese tickers coming up here. Look at CCL. What's going on with CCL? Not a Chinese ticker, by the way. This is Carnival, the cruise liner, and they are down 2.1. You see, I know we talked about them a couple of days ago. They just don't seem to be in play, guys. I mean, look at this. This is just horrible daily. That doesn't look fun at all. I mean, maybe one day here, this one yesterday, you could have had some opportunities, but there were so many other things that were trading well at that time. So it's just tough to do that. I'm going to add Baba and Neo to our list for now. They might not stay there, but at least for the moment, we'll keep them on deck. So, all right, that's what we have. Norm, anything you like on your end?
No, man, I'm still looking. I don't know if
Cool.
I'll trade today, as tired as I am.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Do not blame you at all. Here is Apple. I have Apple on deck as well as a going to watch today. Not crazy volume, but they are, they're good for them to follow the overall market. So definitely be watching that one. All right, let's take it to the chat room. We'll start with Jason. CRL has earnings, so CCL might be moving on that. Let's see if CRL is actually doing something. CRL, this is Royal Caribbean, and again, out of all of them, this is
CRL.
probably
RCL.
RCL. Yes, they're probably the least favorite out of the cruise lines, right? You have Norwegian, I think it is NCHL, which we haven't traded. No, that's not right. And CLH, I forgot the ticker.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
You got it that
NCLH.
time.
We have not traded this in a while because I believe they have not really been in play lately. So I don't
would
see.
agree with you. They haven't really been in play in a
Yeah,
while.
no, they haven't. So RCL, even with earnings, I don't think they're really cutting it. So I'm gonna keep it off the list. Let's take a look at D Dog. See some of you throwing out D Dog this morning. What's going on with D Dog? Up 1.5 was red.
They had the earnings
So earnings, and now they got some movement going on.
for the losings.
Yeah. Guys, careful with this one. I mean, it's just a very, very
D-Dog can
risky
move like
stock.
crazy.
It does. And the spread. Have you guys seen the spread on this thing? I mean, it can really be nasty at times. Actually, right now it's not great. You're looking at what? That
No,
is
not yet.
almost 70 cents there.
Well, it
Just
was
got a
for
little better.
moment. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it improves, but you hit the button. You never know when you hit the button what it's going to be.
Yeah.
It could change in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That's going to get better at the market open. We know that, but I don't think by much. So I'm
still
not going to
wide.
watch this one. Yeah, I'm not going to watch this one, guys, because of that. Which is, you trade so long, you start to realize some of the stocks that are just not worth putting on your list, and that's one of them. John, you're giving a CROX Crocs. Let's type this in the right location. Crocs this morning. No. This is no good for me. Too light on volume.
Shoes.
And yeah, is this the actual shoes company? Yeah,
Yes.
Crocs. I can see them up here. Yep. Yeah, not a fan of this one at all. All right, heading down, Run. We had on the list already, I believe. Didn't we look at Run?
We looked at it. I don't know if you put it on your list.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Run. I know you guys looking at the gap up here, but I'm just not a fan of the way this thing is going to trade. AMD, let's take a look at that one today. AMD, see what we have here. Yeah, I think AMD will be a good one to watch. Again, they had earnings, had a nice day yesterday, good recovery after dropping down. Let's get rid of some of these levels here. So again, look at this gap up, sold off and managed to end green, man. Just a beautiful trading day there for AMD. I think it's worth watching today as well for a possible continuation,
It was
maybe.
wild yesterday, man.
Yeah, it was insane, man. I know AMD can trade well, but this was just madness yesterday. So let me look at the run towards the end of the day. That is just wow, craziness. XOM, I don't like trading it as much. I'd rather watch Oxy, but this one also could be one to watch today. Big day yesterday. BA, let's take a look here. No, I don't think BA is in play today. They're pretty quiet at the moment. 30,000 shares traded. They can trade very well. We took advantage of this on this day here. You guys remember that? Big gap down and the nice sell-off. This traded very well. I don't think they are in play today, though. Heading down, we have Oxy. We looked at Oxy is good. Kian, PFE. PFE, no, it's pretty quiet. This 1.7 million you're seeing here, I don't think that's some transactions being recorded. I'm not seeing any pre-market activity for that PFE. Facebook. Facebook could be interesting. I'm going to just put them quickly here as a possible. We'll double check them again in a second. Twitter we have on deck, so that's good. AMD is good. JP Morgan from Jared. Let's take a look here. JP Morgan. got the banks moving down a little bit today. So JP Morgan down 1.3. How is Bank of America and others doing? Bank of America also moving down. West Fargo. Okay, so you got some banks you can look at. I'll put JP Morgan here since Jerry is watching it as well. Not the way I like it at the moment, but we'll see. We'll have to wait for these banks at the market open. A lot of these nicey stocks, as you guys know, don't get going into the bell rings. Lyft, I think Lyft will be interesting after such a drop yesterday. I think it will be. Actually, I like Lyft today. It played me yesterday for sure, but let's see if Lyft can be nice today. All right, let's see here. AUST. Huh? Oh, recent IPO here. Okay, up 23% now. Oh, this is a gold ETF or something. What is this? But I only have history for yesterday. So Austin Gold Corp. Yeah, not interested right now. Just need more information on that one. Okay, Lyft is good. Microsoft, two more here. We'll do Robbie and Jimmy. Let's take a look at Microsoft from Robbie here this morning. Yeah, it's pretty quiet right now. I mean, I have Apple on deck. Yeah, Microsoft, we'll have to see. I think it's going to move with overall cues and market. So I think we just have to wait to see what happens there. I don't see anything like sticking out that this is in play. You must watch this. So I have Apple, which is kind of following the overall market, which tends to be the bigger one with the most volume. Let's see. And then Jimmy, we'll Apple. We have AMD. We have actually everything you have on there. We have. So thank you for that. And then we'll do one last one. J-Bone. We'll do Dash. DoorDash. Oh yeah, this is no good. DoorDash is they don't trade well even when they're in play. I don't see anything exciting here on DoorDash this morning. Um, Pre-market. Oh, they have earnings tonight, so maybe tomorrow. Earnings tonight after hours, so maybe tomorrow they'll do something. Didn't they get bought out or something by was it
What's up?
DoorDash? Am I confusing it? When there talks about them being bought out by Uber or something, there was some talks like that.
Oh, no,
Maybe I'm confusing the food service. I know they were looking to get
there's
bought
a
out or
whole lot
something.
of stuff.
Or merging, yeah. But yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe Dash tomorrow, not today. Today's not looking great. Let's take a few here from YouTube. Lyft, we have NKLA. I have not seen that ticker in a while. What is that up to? Let's do that. NKLA. Let's see here. What do we
Yeah, I
have?
haven't been looking at hills to push cars down then, I guess.
No, no, definitely not. Uh, and KLA guys, we know the story. I mean, they're just not doing good. Yeah, I don't see them in play, man. No volume whatsoever. I don't see no activity happening. That makes me excited about NKLA here. And then last one here, KN. You're giving us NRGU. What is NRGU? Ooh, NK. You earn yourself a no for today. This is it's not in play. It's just really not in play. What is this? Microsector US big what?
Oil leveraged ETF.
Leverage ETF for oil. Yeah, I think there's better things to trade, man. My opinion. This is very high price as well, 3 times leverage. There's other options that are better out there, I believe. Jared could probably throw a few out. But yeah, we'll skip on that for now. Let's get to community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list and see how it's going to play out today.
All right. Next Monday, you're doing a tech webinar. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. I can't remember what you're doing it on. Do you even know yet?
So I was looking at the history of stuff that has been done. A lot has been covered. I have no idea what I'm gonna be talking about. So we might just have a Q&A and just kind of cover
There
some
you
stuff
go.
that you guys have. So we'll have some fun with it.
All right. And then the following week is Kyle doing a Desk Trader Pro Q&A. Artie's implied volatility webinar should be posted. And then next Tuesday, 8 p.m., you've got Thor doing VPA Part 2. Dr. Kenneth Reed, his seminar last night, incredible. Also gave us some amazing compliments that I woke up to this morning. Somebody posted and I saw, and that was incredible. That will be posted soon. And then the return of Creda next week, next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. How to neutralize pressure with withdrawal trading. Mentorship on Thursdays, Andrew at 11. I don't think Andrew's here today. I think he's traveling. So John will be covering that. Ed at 4, Thor at 8. Ed's off today too. So I don't know what the story will be there, but it's kind of one of those rare days in the spring where we've got people moving around. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. Go there. You'll get a couple of homework assignments a week telling you, giving you some pointers as to where to look for stuff to trade as well. Don't forget about the test drive. You can use the promo code premarket24 to get a discount off that. You can find it on the homepage. Just scroll down to the intro membership, and then Spring 50 to get half off the elite annual membership. It is Cinco de Mayo.
It is, yeah. We got to get our drinking on after the show, I guess. Brian probably already started doing his tequila. I would not be surprised. All right, guys, let's get
They celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Canada, do they?
It's such a U.S. thing. Yeah, I don't.
Well, they don't even celebrate it in Mexico.
Exactly, they don't. Listen, we find any type of excuse
unless you're
to
in
drink.
an Americanized hotel.
Yeah, unless you're in Cancun somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And travel just for that.
With Jello shots, and a woman with a whistle in your ear. Yeah,
I think it's a national holiday over there, and you step outside a few blocks, nothing's happening.
Yeah, no, they don't.
All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's see here what we have. Let's start with Apple. Let's do some levels. Apple at the moment, guys, again, not doing a whole lot. I'm watching it just to see if it moves with the market. So I think that'll be fun to keep an eye on. We have Twitter, tons of volume, definitely in play. This pre-market activity looking very exciting, very active. As they head towards some of these levels we have up here, 52 and also 55. So we'll mark that in a second. But again, tons of volume, 2.6, guys. That's really good for Twitter. Here is Oxy. I love the daily on Oxy, possible breakout. I think this is a good oil type company to keep an eye on. There's a few others out there like XOM, for example. That one is also in play. You guys mentioned that one. So I'll be watching Oxy. Here is Baba. Baba, for the most part, I'm watching two, Baba and Neo. I like the daily on Baba though, right? Especially if we're going to be weak for today, we can lose this level. We got a couple of things we can play for here on Baba. So I like this setup as we're not below, but reaching the level of support of this little island we have here. So I do like that there. And then see some weakness happening now too. Like see a little sell-off on Neo here as well. So that's interesting. Neo, on the other hand, the daily's not so great because there's so much support happening here. So you don't have a lot of room to run to. Unlike Baba, you do have some space there where you can run. This one, I'm not sure, but I do love the volume, guys. 1.9 million shares traded. That can be interesting there on Neo. AMD will keep. Yeah, AMD is good. Huge pop, huge action yesterday. Nice pop up to 100. Sold off to 92 and then back to 100, guys. It's like an $8 move here throughout the day. So it's just insane. $8 down, $8 back up. Man, oh man, oh man. Nice. Here is Lyft. Again, just huge drop yesterday. Are we going to start looking to close this gap? Is this an overreaction? We won't know that just yet, but and it might not happen today. It might be more of a possible today, just to kind of see, hey, are we looking at some value here at 2168 and starting back to that 2530 mark? We'll see, but might be more of a possible actually now that I think about it, because it will need a lot for that to start happening. So I'm going to delete it from our main list and I'm going to leave it as a possible here for now. All right, so Apple, Twitter, Oxy, Baba, Neo, and AMD. Let's get some levels in place here, guys. And I also have Facebook on here, eBay, JP Morgan's, a couple of other ones that we can look at as well on a secondary list. Shopify definitely in play, guys. I mean, they're down 15% here. It's if I knew this stock traded a little bit better, I would have had it on my list, but it is such a tough stock to trade. I don't know. Maybe today could be a difference maker. Let's see. Let's do levels for Spotify today. Normally we wouldn't do that, but it does look very interesting here for a possible play. All right, let's get to levels here. Let's start with Apple. So Apple right now surrounded by some highs and lows here. On the daily, before we get to our pre-market high and low, on the daily, you do have an area right here at 162.90, so that's good. And then towards the top, we have a high of the pre-market over here at a 165.33. So we'll mark that there as well. And our low of the pre-market over at 164. After you do those 3 levels, guys, I think you're pretty much set. I mean, you look at the levels surrounding you; they're all over the place. If somehow we get above this level here, previous day close 166, which is a great area of support, prior resistance as well. If we get above that, then you got some pretty good levels here on the daily. You can be looking for 168 around that area. A couple of days opening, closing right around there. So that's good for Apple. I'm gonna leave that there. Let's head down to Twitter. Twitter, look at the area of support down here between, what is this, 49, 50, and 48. Just tons of support. We've been consolidating here for the last 6 days or so. Now finally breaking out of that with some catalyst there of Elon Musk trying to get investors or securing investors. Who knows? But so we have 50, 76 high of the pre-market. 5163 is another level there, and then all the way up here, obviously 5455, which is your most recent high there. So you're pretty much set there. Actually, you can mark down this day too. I mean, if we're going to run here, 5285 is a good one. Guys, be careful with Twitter. We saw it a few times on these days here. We were watching it where it will have these significant pops, and then the pullbacks are so aggressive. The pullback will actually cover the entire pop, right? So just be mindful on the number of shares you take. I know we've been used to taking heavy shares on Twitter because we don't usually don't get those crazy pops and drops like that. But now, the way they trade has definitely changed after this gap up, right? They're more, I want to say more, not more choppy, but they're you could say choppy. They're a little more choppy, a little more risky. The price action is a lot more aggressive. So just be mindful of that. This is not the old Twitter we were trading, 2-3 months ago, right? So be very, very careful with that, position your sizing, do your sizing correctly on Twitter. Here is Oxy. Oxy breaking out of this range, hopefully. I mean, we've been stuck in here for a while, so getting above that, the next level I see towards the top is going to be 63.57. That's the most recent high since this consolidation period we've been seeing here on Oxy. So let's see if we can get to that. I'm not going to mark down the high of the pre-market just now. Let's see where this ends. They're trying to go on a little run here. And then excuse me, towards the bottom, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job. Do not need to add anything else in there. Previous day close, it's a good level of, you can see the resistance now that can become support. I mean, you are set towards the bottom there. Let's take a look at Baba. Baba here again, I continues to drop. A lot of weakness on Baba today so far. Love the pre-market. We'll mark this down 97.78. Not sure if that's going to hold, but I will keep that there anyway, because if you look at your daily, you have some days opening, closing right around there. So I'm going to keep that there anyway, regardless of what happens here. And then towards the bottom, guys, we do have a low from 2 days ago, from yesterday, actually, low from yesterday on there. And then right over here, we have 95.19 from this 1 day right up here. So let's see what happens, guys. And again, it's showing a lot of weakness right now, 296,000. So that is looking good as far as volume right now. So let's see. Here's Neo, 1.9 million, also showing some weakness. Neo literally stuck in the middle of the highs and lows right here of the last 2 trading days, right? So we've just been consolidating, moving sideways. And we're kind of smack in the middle of that right now. Low of the pre-market for Neo at the moment is sitting at 17.30. We did run up to what's the high of the pre-market, around 17.65. So we had a little run here, giving it all back now. And as we're doing that, as we move forward here, you can see the volume just continues to increase. We're sitting at 1.9 million right now. So let's see what Neo does. Again, stuck in a lot more traffic here opposed to Baba. You can see it's a nice clean shot towards the bottom there. If we can lose it, these stocks tend to run a little bit more if you don't have that much congestion in the way. So let's see what happens there with Baba. But Neo, you cannot deny, is in play with that type of volume. AMD, I mean, as we mentioned yesterday, drops $8, recovers $8. It's just insane. After a gap up, right? This is after a gap up on earnings. So talk about some wild action on AMD. Low of the pre-market 97.60. How was Peter yesterday? Was Peter okay? Did he have like heart palpitations looking at AMD and just going crazy, salivating there? So I would love to hear from Peter how he made out with AMD yesterday, because that is his baby. So here with 97.60 is the low of the pre-market. The high is 98.66. High of the pre-market on AMD. And then towards the bottom here, we do have we do have a level. It's an area because if you see it right below it, you have some support resistance. So it's not right on it, but this 94.38 might actually be 95. It's a good level to have there just in case we do decide to drop here. And then towards the top, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, you're pretty much set when it comes to that. So looking good there on AMD. Shopify, guys. Again, let's see. Let's be prepared for this one. 409 low of the pre-market, showing a lot of weakness right now after earnings this morning, right? Pre-market earnings. Let me confirm. I believe it was pre-market earnings on Shopify. Yes, pre-market earnings today. So love the pre-market there, 409. You do have a level here, right on here, even on the pre-market. You got this area around 4, might be a little bit higher, 425, right? You got some resistance happening here as well. 409 low of the pre-market, so we'll mark that there. And then if you look above that on the daily, you can see tons of levels happening there. So you're pretty much set as far as that. Towards the bottom, if we lose this 409, let's go to the left and find some levels over here. Let's see what we can. Let's actually go like this. We have not been down here since 2020, February, April timeframe. So right in here, guys, let's go ahead and mark this right over here at 379. We have a level here and here. So 379, 336, and 302. Again, I don't think we'll get to 379 without a fight there, but we'll see. The stock can move very, very aggressive. So, right, that is our list, guys. So we have Apple, Twitter, Oxy, Baba, Neo, AMD, and Shopify here. We have Shop as on deck, looking very weak at the moment. Let's see. See the spread on this $3 spread. No, I can't watch this. No way. It's gonna get better, but it's not gonna get better by much. But that's just not. I'm not gonna waste my time on something like that. As good as everything else looks, the daily, the pre-market action. No, I'm not gonna watch that. All right, guys, we're all set. We got a couple of minutes here. We can get to some questions if anybody has. Let's take a look here over on YouTube and also on our main chat here in our chat room. Brian says it doesn't get better. It's pretty bad, man. I like the setup.
Shop stocks.
The
spread is always terrible. It might not be that bad, but
right. It just jumped from like $1 to $3. I'm like, no, just no way.
$1 on a $416 stock isn't that big of a deal. $3 is pretty nasty.
Right. And so it's no way. Ryan asking, what do we think about TUP? This Tupperware, they don't trade very well. We had them on our list before. The fund might be over. They had a gap down day here, and even that doesn't look too exciting. 7.3 million shares traded. Maybe off what's that of? They had earnings, pre-market earnings. I mean, who's buying Tupperware? Everybody's home. Well, a lot of people are still working from home. So my wife is working from home.
They actually popped because of that. Everybody cooking from home. Remember how much baking and all the other BS that was going on?
So now they're
So they actually benefited from a lot of that, and now they're kind of getting smoked.
Gotcha.
Somebody's asking, do we use pivot points as well as the daily levels? Many of us do.
Yeah. Yep. And we have tons of material also in the education center about pivot tables and that you can.
Dor actually has a book coming out on it. So
yeah, can't wait for that, man. That's going to be exciting. So be on the lookout for that. Did I miss some questions here on our chat? Let's see. They already shave yet? No, we're not. He's not out of the woods yet. He cannot shave. He is not out of the woods yet.
He's going to look like Osama bin Laden by the time it's done.
And his beard is actually growing pretty quickly. You saw the last videos. It's getting there, man. We're gonna get him into the beard gang here for sure. So, guys, so let's see what we got. We have 64% of you
guys. Beard of the month club. I've never had an actual real beard, and whenever I had that ridiculous thing that you guys called a beard, but
we try to get you there.
Like Manscaped or the subscription service kind of deal for beard products, we need to sign Artie up for that because at least for a year, because it's going to be a while.
Absolutely, we definitely got to sign them up. They do have plenty of those. And yeah, we'll have to sign them up. I'll send my list a gift basket to the office. Let's do that. I'll get on Amazon today. So 65% of you almost think that it's still bearish. Wait for it. And 35 heading north. 54 votes so
And
far.
35% of you are wrong.
35% of you are wrong. Love it, love it. So we'll see how that is at the end of the day as you guys keep throwing your votes in. All right. So what else, guys? Tesla. Yeah, we did not look at Tesla. Let's see what's happening there. Tesla this morning. Tesla. You could watch. It's pretty quiet right now, but anything can happen with this one. I think this is going to be a lot of sitting and waiting to
Tesla,
see.
I think Tesla will be interesting today.
Yeah.
The news of Musk getting some additional people involved will take some of the pressure off of Tesla, and I think there's been a I just use a round figure, probably around $100 of downside in Tesla because of the Twitter deal.
Yeah.
Him being concerned about people being concerned about either him having to take margin loans or sell stock or taking his attention off of it. But if you have more people involved, it's not just Musk running Twitter. You've got other individuals, their money involved. I think that'll help Tesla a little bit. I'm not maybe not today. I'm not today's looking. Who knows? But
yeah, I could agree. We kind of share off some of that risk, right, that he's taking there. So, yeah, I have it here as a possible. We'll see where it goes. How about ICPT? Did it do anything? No. See, this thing is just coming back down here. It's not really doing a whole lot. So I'll remove that. Nothing to see there. All right, guys, at 9:14, let's get to our moderators lineup and let's see what we have going on here. I'm going to bring this over. As I do this, if you're enjoying the show, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. Let's get over to our friends over here, our moderators. We have Mike. So Mike will be looking at Facebook, Apple, and AMD. Dima will be looking at Twitter, Oxy, and Apple. Peter will be no IPOs, one IPO for today, IDBL, maybe, because a lot of stuff, it says it's coming out, but it doesn't actually open up. Did it push it back or whatever? We've seen a lot of that lately. His list, AMD, Twitter, Apple. Secondary list, D-Dog, Oxy, and Neo. Tiffany will be looking at Apple, Twitter, AMD. Secondary list, Shopify, and W, which is Wayfair. Mega will be looking at JD, Microsoft, Facebook, and Oxy. And Susan, Facebook, AMD, Microsoft, and Oxy on her list. So that is what we have so far, guys. I think we are pretty much set here. Thank you so much over on YouTube for joining us this morning. Remember, tomorrow there is no Engineering the Markets as it is Friday. So tune in around 8:30 for Norm and I as we take you to the pre-market show and prepare you for the market open. So let's give a few minutes. Let's see if Brian has his list out, and then we will head over to the chat room. So let's see if we can get Brian to get his list. It will be Brian and Thor today trading live.
Thor said he has something at his daughter's school. It was going to be Thor, but he had some appointment that came up. So,
all right, so it might be someone else. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, we are all set. Let's see if Brian has his list. If not, we will call it a day. And there's Brian's list. Oh, he only likes 2 things today: Shopify and D-Dog.
More than that.
Yeah, he'll find more than that as he gets prepared. But he has Shop and D-Dog for right now as he's looking through that. He's going to go on the mic in a second and kind of walk you through some of the stuff he likes so far this morning. Guy, trade safe. We will see you over on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow. And Andrew will be here. Okay, so Andrew will be trading for today live. So excellent. Take care, guys, over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, at 8:30, as there is no Engineering the Markets. Trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.